Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is jwhitneyart, and since it's September, so this is the time of year where artists usually get a little excited because Inktober is upon us. Now, I had a really disappointing Inktober last year, so I want to redeem myself. It's midnight. I'm a little sleepy, but let's get into it. So right now I'm just showing you the supplies that I'm using, and my thought process was, I don't know if I want to do like a water painting or if I want to do inking. Now, watercolor isn't something I'm, super unfamiliar with, but ink is a totally different story. So I showed you all my supplies. I use a coal erase pencil, HB pencil. I'm using a mixed media paper, ink, watercolors. I'll shoot tape. Sorry, I went there really fast. I wasn't paying attention because I was talking. Anyways, so I'm just starting by taping down the paper. I already drew this sketch with the coal erase pencil I'm showing you here. I sketched it. I used tracing paper so I could, copy this one with the ballpoint pen, use my light pad, copy it on the other side, and voila. So I have the page split up into a couple of sections because part of it I want to do, the ink part, I want to do the watercolor, but I also want to try paintbrush versus a nib for the paint. For the ink. I'm stumbling all through this voiceover. So actually I'm just testing out the ink itself with a couple of different brushes that I pulled from my watercolor set. I really like this broad brush, but my illustration was so small, this kind of didn't make any sense. I wasn't covering any huge sections of the illustration, so it kind of didn't make any sense. But hopefully I do come up with some artwork this month that will call for a wide brush. I'm just testing out it dry, kind of seeing its gradients. And this is the dip pen that I'm using. I tried to play with the line weight for this one, but that wasn't as successful. Since making this video, I've actually bought another dip pen like nib set, and I'm going to play around with those in another video, so stay tuned. Let me know if that's something you care about at all, because I'm going to do it anyways. I need content. And a quick little smiley face, and we get started. I did not press record on this first half, and I'm so disappointed because let me not spoil it for you, but I enjoyed doing this, but I didn't get a lot of it. So for each of these sections, I kind of just start with inking over the sketch line and doing, basic details. And then I go back and I do some shading. I gave her, on the left side, she had braids. And then when I get to the right side, I decided to turn them into twists. But I think at this point in the video, I'm doing my second pass where I'm going through and I'm darkening, some of these lines. Because I figure you can't really change the line weight with the nib, but if you go over it a second time, then you can make certain areas more prominent than others to kind of make them stick out, especially in the hair where it was kind of like the braids are layering over each other. So on this part of this illustration, I am just using this might have been like the smallest paintbrush that I have. I don't remember what size it is. But I'm just going through, and this one, it was easier obviously to play with the line weight, but at the same time I didn't like how it didn't get as small as using the nib. I do like these deep shadows, but some of it was kind of just like, it's kind of clunky. I think this might be helpful in different illustrations, but it might not be helpful in all of them. This is just a trial, just to see kind of what I prefer. And more than likely, I'll use a combination of all of these options, because they're available. If something works, then it works. If it doesn't, then we'll skip it. Okay, so the bottom half of both of these illustrations, I'm using color. Now on this side, I just kind of used it just to be putting color on the sketch. Not necessarily this is how I would do it. It kind of had like a cool effect that I kind of just layered, the colors, letting them mix on their own kind of. But if I was to do this method, I think I would do some color mixing and not just do the plain colors. Or if I see one that I like, maybe I'll just do the outline in blue or in red or in yellow. We'll see. I didn't love the color with the paintbrush because I couldn't get it to match the other side that was really thin, and then I kind of had to make some shading choices on this side. Wasn't a huge fan of it. It's a cool effect, but and here I totally forgot this hand, so I just went back and added a little bit more. You can see more in depth though, the detail that I put into the color side. So at this point I'm switching to color, or to watercolors, and I had a little bit of, I was leaning the spouts of the inking containers in the palette, so I had to clean that off really quickly. So on top, I called this side the watercolor washes, not necessarily, doing the outlines like I did on the first one. So this is where I would kind of fill the illustration with color washes, and, leave parts open that would be like the lightest part. So, like highlights, that part I just wouldn't color in. So the initial wash is gonna be, I would say, like the lightest hue, so it'd be the most watered down version of the color. For the top, I'm just using black, and kind of as the layers dry, I work my way up to darkening each layer. I thought this had a pretty cool effect, but it's more the nib itself, or I'm sorry, the brush itself. If anything, I think what I would prefer is to use a wash, but to do like the outline with the dip pen, because I like the small detail line of the dip pen, but I did like the coverage of the wash. So here I'm working up the layers, darkening these areas, creating contrast with the darker hue, and in a minute I'm gonna start adding the details of the twist. So you can see here I'm just kind of doing kind of like diagonal horizontal lines going across to build up the braid or twist like texture. Okay, moving forward, we're moving on to the second half of the watercolor wash section. So I decided to do some color mixing here, and I don't know if it's because I haven't done a lot of painting lately, but this gave me a hard time, and it really helped me decide kind of what it is that I really wanted to do for this challenge, whether or not I wanted to go through the whole rigmarole of mixing colors, and I'm not sure if I want to. And honestly, this was my least favorite part of this whole, experiment, was working with watercolors in this way. I was kind of trying to stick to the same, do a wash, then go around with, details and outline. I didn't like it. And then you'll see it soon, but I make a bad, mix. I kept trying to change the colors, and then they got really muddy, kind of green looking. I think it's right here that you'll see. Yeah, it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't work it the same way that I worked the top area, where I started with a really watered down version of the black paint. I just kind of was piling it on top. I kind of treated it like it was a gouache or something. But yeah, I just don't think Inktober for me is going to be the easiest way to get it done. I don't think that it's painting with watercolor. It takes longer to dry. It's all of the water you have to use for the washes, and the ink just kind of you just put it down and you finish the illustration. You skip all of this. I guess I don't hate it, but as far as doing this the easiest way, it's probably gonna be the dip pen in black ink. So here I'm just showing kind of the results and the products that I used for each section. I would give this dip pen ink combo, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. This bottom color ink portion, I didn't love it. I think I give it a 3 out of 5. The black watercolor, a 4 out of 5, and the color watercolor, let's give it a 2 out of 5. So here's the finished piece. I really appreciate you for staying. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.